speaking of fanatical and fans, there's a lot of fans of Petros. There's a lot of fans of the New England Patriots.
What a great setup.
Yeah. And there's a lot of fans who apparently are going to be pretty pleased with what Robert Kraft is about to say, the owner of the New England Patriots, who spoke at Fanatics Fest and spoke about the past, the present, and the future for the New England Patriots.
The last 2 years were the worst years of my 31 years of ownership. We have to change that. We have a new coach in Mike Vrabel who is really connected with the players, who's doing great work. We have a young quarterback, a lot of great veterans, free agent veterans who came in, a great draft class. We're going to have fun this year, I promise.
I mean,
first of all, I want some of whatever it is he got.
Oh, come on.
At that moment, first off.
What do you,
second of all.
By the way, LaVar.
So is it the last 2 years? Isn't it Gerard Mayo and Bill Belichick?
By the way, LaVar tried to claim that was Harry Carey and not Robert Kraft.
It was very close.
Which I thought was disrespectful to both
That
parties.
was very close, bro.
If we're being honest here.
Hey, bro, he held no punches. Worst 2 years of my life.
Okay. Here's
God dang.
You know what the part about this that I find kind of funny? That's your fault, Robert Kraft. That's on you. That's nobody else's fault. And the reason why I think he feels the heat and feels the pressure is because if this doesn't work again, who can we point to other than Robert Kraft? Because you could blame Belichick for the final year. It was a disaster and all that. And it was remnants of them moving on from Tom Brady, even though they went to the playoffs with Mac Jones. Like, you could blame Belichick all you want. Belichick was the fall guy. Okay, we finally have the guy that we want. We push out Bill Belichick. For all intents and purposes, he was fired. We bring in Gerard Mayo, and it was a diaper fire. Awful from the get-go. So he got desperate. They went out to hire Mike Vrabel, who's a great coach, and everybody's rave reviews so far, his time in New England and what he's done with the culture there. But Robert Kraft's talking about how miserable the last 2 years. That's his fault. That's his doing. And I think he knows if this doesn't work, where else does he have to point a finger at? Because at some point, he's going to be held responsible, and he's got to be the guy that everybody looks at and goes, well, maybe it's his decision-making. Maybe it's not just Belichick. Maybe it's Robert Kraft, who we should look at and go, I mean, is he doing his part to make sure that this franchise is back on track and they're trying to build a winner there?
Is this turning into a Jerry Jones scenario?
Ooh.
That's what it says to me. You found magic, lightning in a bottle, captured the tiger by the tail with Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones were a winning combo for whatever reason. Who knows the reason? And then something happened. It didn't feel as though there was even credit given to the success, and Jerry Jones has been chasing building his own successful Super Bowl winning team ever since, even though he got one with Barry Switzer, because many debated that Barry Switzer's team was the team that Jim Johnson put together. So when I look at this whole scenario now and where the New England Patriots are currently, it just makes me feel like, with all of the things we've heard through the years that have been, discussed or put out there about the relationship dynamics, the three-way relationship dynamics, the trinity in New England of Kraft, Belichick, and Brady, where he is currently right now, it has the feeling that he has to find, in his own mind, he has to find a level of success that can free him from the idea that it wasn't him that should get the credit for being one of the greatest runs in all of sports ever in the history of sports. He needs to put it to rest in his mind that he is the type of owner that can create that type of success again, and it doesn't have to be with Bill Belichick.
It's no coincidence.
And I think that's the biggest thing with him.
Yeah, and it's no coincidence that they've spent the amount of money they did in the offseason. I believe they spent more than any other team in free agency. He went out, they got aggressive, had to have Mike Vrabel. That was the guy that he wanted. I 100% buy that. I do think he feels pressure. I think he feels like I've got to do my part to justify, I don't want to say existence in this whole foundation of a dynasty that we created. But facts are facts. If there is the Holy Trinity and Belichick's gone and Brady's gone and all of a sudden this franchise is a shell of themselves, who's left? And it's him. And so I 100% buy that there's maybe a little element of Jerry Jones. And also, it's been kind of a rocky year or so for Robert Kraft, year plus, considering everybody was very critical about the documentary that came out in which it was his production company, but you had people taking shots at Bill Belichick or, really thanking him for his part in the success of the organization. It was really kind of painted as Belichick was the bad guy, and Robert Kraft got a lot of heat for it, and ex-players spoke up in defense of Bill Belichick afterwards, and so he went on a little bit of an apology tour. They had the Tom Brady roast, and they're doing like a shot of whiskey on stage and all that stuff. It's not been a great year or so for Robert Kraft, and I just think he looks at this and goes, I got to turn this thing around ASAP. And also, not in the Hall of Fame yet, which is kind of strange considering Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame, and those two reportedly have some little rivalry, some little beef. Robert Kraft's got 6 Super Bowls as an owner. He's not in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know if it's because, he went to the Grab Lab in Jupiter, Florida that one time. But it's not like Jerry Jones has got this squeaky clean reputation off the field. It's just been a really awkward, uncomfortable, and rocky year plus or couple of years for Robert Kraft. And I do buy into that he looks at this and goes, I've got to prove my worth here and show that I can get this franchise back on track because the other two guys aren't here anymore.
It's a great point, but I still think it's just ego-driven. And when you're as successful as Robert Kraft has been in business and in life, it's something that it's there. It's always what's next. And he's going to get into the Hall of Fame. I mean, if he doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, then that's one of those things where you say, well, how do you value a Hall of Fame that doesn't have, Kraft in the Hall of Fame? So that to me, that will take care of itself eventually. To me, the bigger issue here for Robert Kraft is that I believe he fights demons as it applies to Bill Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's fighting them. I think that there's something about the way it all went down and the way it all unfolded that didn't sit well with him. And whatever that bad taste that was left in his mouth, it's like he's on a mission to rid himself of that feeling. And it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds because we have watched it torment Jerry Jones to so many people's chagrin, to so many people's entertainment, to Cowboys fans' disappointment. We have watched Jerry Jones live in not being able to find the magic again. And something that happens once in a lifetime, the run that the Dallas Cowboys went on with the Big Three was something that was phenomenal. A Michael Irvin doesn't come along every year. with a Troy Aikman that, by the way, doesn't come along every year. With, by the way, Emmitt Smith that doesn't come by every single year. And in New England, a quarterback in Tom Brady that never comes along ever in any years other than my draft, 2000. That's it. You've only had one Tom Brady. That's it. So if you're chasing that unicorn and that's going to make you feel whole, it's going to make you feel better, good luck with that, man.
It's not happening.
Good luck with that.
And also, he's brought this up before, Robert Kraft has, where he's, when Belichick made the decision to want to move on from Brady, and Robert Kraft sort of regrets not sticking up and speaking his mind because he didn't like the idea of that. Okay, well, why didn't you do anything then? Like, you didn't know, you didn't think in real time, oh, look what we've got here. Like, maybe there is a little bit more left in the tank. Maybe this pairing doesn't work anymore. Maybe I've got to move on from the coach, and maybe I've got to stick with the quarterback. There's a lot of things that have happened that it's on him. And if he is, to your point, chasing that ghost, dude, it's not happening.
It's a ghost for a reason.
Yeah.
It ain't here.